Tyson, bro. The Jets remain winless. It is not looking good, man. Back-to-back weeks where the Jets defense actually stepped up. Steve Wilkes did his thing, and they held the opposition, Denver, Carolina, to 13 points, and they still couldn't find a way to secure a victory. I think if you take a look at the Jets' schedule, we've lost to good teams, bad teams. We've been blown out. We've lost close games. We've lost because of the offense. We've lost because of the defense. We've lost because of special teams. We've also lost because of coaching. So I think that checks pretty much every single box that you could possibly, check in regards to losing football games. Clock management has been another major issue. Cincinnati Bengals this week against Joe Flacco. I'm sure we're going to dive into, confidence meter at the end of the stream.
Of course.
But how you feeling, man? Thanks so much for hopping in. And by the way, shout out to everyone hanging, man. Dom, Jets West, Logan, Jason. What's going on, guys? Hope Rashad. Hope you guys are doing well.
2 weeks, no touchdowns. The New York Jets have not scored a touchdown in 2 games. In the high-flying NFL, where points are everybody's scoring points. Backup quarterbacks, third string, first string, you can fall into points. The Jets can't do that, and it is ridiculously frustrating. The Jets are a laughing stock of the NFL. We are back to the same old Jets. We're back to being the brunt of all the jokes, the memes, the GIFs, and everything else. And it's annoying, dude, because you get tired of it. Like Aaron Glenn's big thing was, we want to be a team that we're proud of, and they're not even close to that. They're melting, they're backtracking, they're making excuses, and you're starting to think there's a lot more questions than answers, which is alarming after 7 games in a year that you want to evaluate what you have, find your cornerstones, find your building blocks, and move forward. And you're having a hard time doing that right now, and that really blows, dude.
Yeah, and I mean, it's classic Jets, right? But it's kind of, if we just purely look at these last 2 games, again, credit the defense, credit special teams, they actually look like they're improving. But it's kind of, I mean, it's sad in a sense, but also kind of funny that if the Jets actually had below average quarterback play, we probably could have won both of those games. But the problem is the Jets quarterback play is like historically horrific.
Yep.
And of course, as soon as the defense starts to turn around, as soon as you stop making mistakes on special teams, all of a sudden the offense just completely spirals out of control. Justin Fields can't complete a pass. Wide receivers aren't really giving much effort. Garrett Wilson gets hurt. Braylon Allen just got surgery. It has just been a nightmare.
It's been a nightmare. This is the biggest part of Aaron Glenn's job was to find a quarterback and build an offense. He hasn't done either of those jobs yet. And the thing is, what we're all going to, I mean, Fields is obviously a backup quarterback best. He is playing the worst football of his career. Fine. They should have benched him last week. They benched him this week. Great. Who cares about that? I think we're not paying enough attention to the offensive coordinator, the offensive line coach, and everything on the offense. You mentioned the wide receivers not competing for balls. The play calling, completely erratic, no rhyme or reason behind it. No quick passes, not taking advantage of Breece Hall's skill set before he got hurt. No quick passing game, no screen. Like all these things, dude. It's a cumulative disaster on offense. And this is what happens when you have a first-time head coach, first-time coordinator, first-time O-line coach, a quarterback that's in over his head, and a ton of inexperienced wide receivers, or just bad wide receivers at that matter.
Yeah, I mean, we all kind of knew that the offense was going to struggle this season.
But that's I'm going to cut you off. I'll let you go. We talked about this, Ian. We talked about this the entire offseason. Are they putting Justin Fields in the best chance to win with the playmakers around him? You're one Garrett Wilson injury away from being in bad shape. Oh, no, we got Josh Reynolds. We got Stone Smart. We got Tyler Johnson. You got garbage, dude. You got a bunch of fourth or fifth wide receivers. You have Mason Taylor, who's trying to find his way as a rookie tight end. Ruckert, nothing. Like, they have literally nothing around them. And the one guy they do have, Breece Hall, they don't even use right. That's my concern. Listen, I don't like Fields is done. But I'm not going to say, well, Engstrand's great or they're doing a lot of good things. He's the only guy holding this offense back. You can make a case Engstrand and Glenn holding the offense back as well.
I just think right now it's just a bunch of unknowns. To just play devil's advocate here and just try to push back on that, like in the defense of Tanner Engstrand. And I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying he's great. I think he's just been average. I think we've seen some good. We've seen some bad. But I think if you were to poll all 32 offensive coordinators in football, or, Andy Reid, Sean McVay, offensive head coaches, you know what I mean? 32 play callers, if you were to ask them, hey, how successful do you think your offense will be if you don't have a quarterback and you don't have wide receivers, and the one wide receiver you do have is hurt? Do you think that's a consistent model for success? And I think literally all 32 would probably say no.
Well,
So
then, Bill, then, okay, fine. Then why did they give this guy $30 million guaranteed? Why did they tell us how they're going to build?
that's barely anything. That's
It's 30
30
million.
million is
Dude,
barely.
you could have got many other quarterbacks for a lot less money. They're just probably only bidding against themselves at that point. But you make the decision to go to get Justin Fields. Why not roll him out? Why not use his legs more? If he's being hindered because his leg is hurt, he shouldn't be playing. Like, and when you see him failing, why aren't you taking him out? I have questions, dude, because the quick passing game is not there for him. Doing things that gets him comfortable, they're not even doing that. Like they're making
They tried.
run, third and long pass. Like they're not. Week 1 was an anomaly, man, and the play calling was significantly different after that.
Well, they tried to get Justin in rhythm early in this against Carolina. They didn't really do that. They didn't really even attempt it in the first 6 weeks, but against the Carolina Panthers, they did, and it wasn't successful. You saw like Justin Fields, even on like a quick design, screen pass to Arian Smith, it just takes so long for Fields to get rid of the football. I mean, there was another play where their screen was wide open, and he just doesn't even throw the ball. He's just looking right at. I mean, it's reminiscent of Zach Wilson and Sam Darnold to a certain degree, right? Where they're looking at wide open receivers the very few times that these wide receivers actually get open. But when they are open, the quarterback is just not pulling the trigger. It's like they're not trusting their eyes. So, I think there's so much blame to go around. It's not like we can just, boom, it's all Tanner, or it's all on Fields, or it's all on the receivers, or it's all on Glenn. There's so much blame to, it's similar to last season, right? Where, you had guys not performing well. You had just people pointing the finger. You had Hackett to blame. You had Solid to blame. You had Ulbrich to blame. You had Douglas to blame. All these guys that, like, that's how bad the problem was. But it's got to be figured out, dude. It's got to be figured out. Personally, I think it's just going to be Taylor this week, and they're just going to roll the dice and just see how it goes.
Well, they had no choice. That should have been this past Sunday. Like we talked about this. He should have been benched against Denver, dude. He should have started. Tyrod should have started this week, and you won. The thing is, you watch Tyrod come in, the passing game instantly opens up a little bit. And we talked about this thing last week, too. It's like, remind me of Mike LaFleur's offense when Zach couldn't run it, but everybody else could. Like Mike White comes in, lights it up. Everybody else. Unfortunately, Tyrod Taylor's 38 years old and kind of limited. But if you got a younger guy here, which is part of their problem, too, you can see what he brings to the table. But I'm really frustrated, dude. And it's like, we're trying to look big picture here. Like, okay, Justin Fields, not the answer. We figured that. Aaron Glenn, who knows what he is? Who knows what Angstrom is? But what can we identify as the rest of the season plays out? What can we figure out? And to me, it's like, I'd embrace the youth movement, dude. Like, you have to evaluate what you have. To watch Alan Lazard do absolutely nothing is a waste of time. Sure,
every
Tyler
week,
Johnson,
dude,
right?
every week.
Right? So this is the time to bring in Brandon Smith. I'm not really sure what Pritchett did wrong in his life. If Pritchett should get a chance to return kicks, or at least be a gadget guy. Let Skinner get a chance. Get these guys playing time, dude. The season's lost. And you know what? They'll compete more for the ball than some of these other guys are doing. Because Alan Lazard's a waste of time, dude. You want guys that are hungry, that want to play. The game means something to them. These guys are collecting checks and waiting to next year. Like, you know what? I'm out of here. A veteran guy doesn't care, dude. They know they're not going to be here next year. They're on to the next one. Young rookies may be here next year. They may actually care a little bit more and fight for playing time and fight for these catches.
You know who are the hungriest players in the National Football League? Undrafted free agents.
100%.
Guys that don't know if they're going to be on the team next year. They don't even know if they're going to be playing football next year. So if that is a missing part of the Jets offense, which it clearly is, put these players in the game. It's not like we are benching Jamar Chase. It's not like we're benching the 30th best wide receiver. No, we are benching players that will not be here moving forward. They're not part of this, brand new regime. The offense is not built around them. Put the young guys in. And even if it doesn't go well, right? You put Skinner in, he has 0 catches. All right, well, that's on par with Lazard. So is it really that much of a downgrade?
And have some routes for Arian Smith, more than one pass a game. Give him crossing routes. Open up his playbook. Open up his route tree and see what this kid can do. What better time to learn than in a lost season? See what he can do and he can't do. So next year, he knows what to work on, and we can call for him. This is your time to experiment because nobody cares. We all expect losses. We're all over it. Put him in there. Even a running back, dude. If they trade Breece Hall, get a young running back in here. Try it all out now and see what you can do with these guys.
Planet Nix, bro, I appreciate you, man. Finally, someone is saying what I'm saying. Yeah, I think you're talking in regards to like, Justin Fields' skill set not really being, that's another whole thing that I have just a major question with too is even if Fields is out there, they don't utilize his legs. Why? Why? That's saying like Patrick Mahomes, you can only throw screen passes. Josh Allen only throws screen passes and hang in the pocket. Like, no, their best comes from, hitting plays down the field, showing off the arm strength, extending plays, and just exploiting a defense after things start to break down a little bit. I mean, what it just blows my mind. I think the most positive play out of that Jets Panthers game with Fields in the game in that first half came on like a quarterback design run from Justin, and he got hit late, and that was the biggest, most explosive play. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, there's just simply no freaking way that a coaching staff and Aaron Glenn and all these different guys can just be rolling out in practice and just watch, because I don't understand it, right? Because Fields looked just again horrific against Denver. He sticks up for Fields afterwards. Fine. He goes with Fields against Carolina. What was happening in that week? Is Fields looking like this or looking this bad in practice? Or is it one of those situations where Glenn is like looking at Fields and he's slinging it all around and he looks comfortable, but then once the the lights come on, Field shrinks? Like, I don't know what the hell the problem is, but it's a disservice to the team to just continue to roll him out there. I would love to say, hey, you know what? The Jets are letting him run. They're getting him outside the pocket. And for whatever reason, it's not working, but at least they're trying. But if you keep on asking Justin Fields to, dissect the full field of reads in a 5-step, 3 to 5-step passing drop every passing play, it's just not going to be, all that successful. And like another issue too, I mean, it's not so much an issue. It just feels so kind of one-dimensional. How many passes does Justin Fields throw to where the wide receiver or the tight end or the running back, they're just standing there. They're just stationary. They're not getting hit in stride. Is that maybe something, because you look at the Detroit Lions offense with Jared Goff, he's constantly hitting guys, tight ends up the middle of the seam, right? Sam Laporta over
But
top.
is that play development? Is it coaching? Is it practice? Is it all the above? That's the
Well, it
problem I
could
have.
be.
Because like Angstren's a first timer, dude, and Aaron Glenn's a defensive minded coach that knows offense. That's where if you had an offense, in theory, if you had an offensive minded head coach that knows, say Cliff Kingsbury, would it be the same way right now? That's what I wonder about. Are they trying to put like a square peg in a round hole with Justin Fields? Like, well, this is the offense we want to run, and you're not working in it, but then you should be adjusting your offense to what he does better. Like, you literally see it. Like, nothing looks comfortable. Nothing looks easy. He doesn't look comfortable. He looks overwhelmed. And when they get any kind of rhythm, the offensive line melts because they blitz and they can't pick it up. So it seemed like it's a comedy of errors. And listen, I expected better out of Fields. I mean, not saying he's going to be great, but even average play, they have 3 wins right now. He's been dreadful. And you have Aaron Glenn defending him, not holding him accountable, making excuses for him. And that trickles down to the locker room where the team knows they can't win with him. Like, you saw the frustration building up the last 2 weeks where players are like, dude, he's still holding on to the ball. You got Garrett Wilson hurt for his inaccurate throws. It's a mess, man.
Yeah, in high altitude, Shanahan's offense is doing okay with the backup QB, 3 wide receivers hurt, plus Kittle. Well, Kyle Shanahan's a beast. Kyle Shanahan, I would say, is probably either the second. I mean, he's definitely a top 3 offensive mind in football. Whereas,
we got to stop. We got to stop making excuses, dude. This reminds me of the Zach Wilson conversations where every backup quarterbacks are coming in mid-game throwing for 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. We see quarterbacks all throughout the NFL. Freaking Flacco had 5 days of practice. He goes out and learns an offense, does it. Quarterbacks, either you know how to play the game or you don't. Either you're good or you're not. Either you can call plays and complete them or you can't. Can you execute or you're not? Like, they're not helping Fields. He's not helping them. But I'm not going to blame this all on Fields. This staff has a long way to go in terms of being very competent on offense because they have to be better at their jobs.
So if we come out against Cincy and Tyrod is moving the offense, not top 5 or, anything crazy, 250 passing yards at halftime, right? No Mike White 400-yard passing yard day. I believe that was against the Bengals defense. I could be wrong. In any case, if Tyrod is just moving the offense and they're getting in the end zone a little bit, like, as a Jet fan, dude, like, I'm at the point where I'm kind of excited just to see, right? We have the defense playing well. We have special teams playing well. Now we're all just staring at the offense, the Jets' biggest freaking problem for the last 15 years, and high altitude. I appreciate the 5, by the way, man. Thank you so much. We're all looking at the offense saying, your turn to wake up. And a quarterback change, maybe it does provide a spark. And you know, I have seen the comment too. Oh, well, Tyrod threw 2 picks, you know, against the Panthers. They're throwing every down. And also to JC Horn's credit, those are some awesome picks. Not, you know, obviously Tyrod can't turn the ball over there. One of them was the right read where it was a one-on-one matchup to Josh Reynolds on the outside. Reynolds says he doesn't even try for the football. What the hell's that? And then the other one was just the pass should have been released a little bit quicker, a little bit earlier, and Horn picked that one off too. That one actually came first, but you know, I think even with those 2 interceptions, the offense still moved better. It just looked a little bit more free. And again, I'm not saying that Tyrod is, you know, sort of answer here. I don't really think he's, you know,
he's their best chance to win. Just call it what it is. He's their best chance to win.
But it's not like, you know, it's not like we're putting out Mac Jones in San Francisco where it's just like, okay, this is a high level backup. I'm still, you know, on the fence. Like, okay, this is just kind of the best the best we got at this point. But one thing I am curious about is a full week of practice with Taylor as the guy. How do the players buy into that? Taylor has been getting 0 first team reps all year. I'm curious. Well, maybe outside of that Bucks game, the week leading up to that, but that was still like iffy. Like that whole Justin Fields thing, we didn't know if he was going to play or not. But yeah, I'm curious to see. Right, if they just give the reins to Taylor for the rest of the year, you know, how will the offense look? How will the players respond to him?
I think they're going to rally around him because he's a respected guy in the locker room. They liked him a lot last year in the locker room. They respect him. He's a hard worker. He's a class act, genuine. And you know what he can do? He can complete passes, a novel concept for the Jets. He can actually throw the ball forward and they can actually catch it, which is great. That's progress. You can see what Engstrom's really made of, how this offense should function. But going back to the wide receivers, it's interesting because when John Simpson had the personal foul, Aaron Glenn was all pissed off. He took him out. Okay, fine. You're holding him accountable now after 3 weeks of penalties. Good for you. Good job, coach. When a wide receiver makes almost next to no effort on a pass, where's the accountability there, dude? Like Josh Reynolds shouldn't be invincible. Alan Lazard shouldn't be invincible. Where's Aaron Glenn ripping their ass on the sideline? Like, what was that? Like, and this shouldn't be like, I got to watch the tape. You got to be able to see this real time when you're on the field with your arms crossed, what's going on the field with your players. You know when somebody's competing or not, or they're kind of mailing it in or just going through the motions. Where's the accountability there?
Yeah, and it's not like Aaron Glenn, you know, has his head buried in the defensive play calling playbook, right? He is the managerial CEO style. Wilkes handles defense, Ingstrand handles offense, and Glenn is hearing everything. You know, he's watching everything. He's monitoring the game. And it does put, like, you look at a guy like John Harbaugh. Yeah, like the Ravens are you know, they're a 1-5 football team this year, but the CEO style of head coach, Sean McDermott, Buffalo is like this. Nick Sirianni, Philadelphia. You do have an advantage there because you can really get a feel of the game, like finger on the pulse of the action, knowing when to maybe challenge a play or go for it on 4th down or fake a punch or knowing when to kick a field goal. Just things like that. You have a better grasp because you're fully 1000% engaged on both sides of the football. It's not like Glenn's headset is muted on one. It's not like he has to mute, you know, the offensive side when he's calling defensive plays. It's not like he has to, you know, when the Jets offense is out on the field, he's not on the sidelines, turned around, going over, messing around on like the iPad or the Microsoft thing with the defensive players. Like, no, he's fully engaged. And so that's really concerning how it seems like he picks and chooses when to dish out accountability. And to your point, he pulls out John Simpson. I understand, set the tone at accountability, but you don't pull offensive linemen. I don't care how egregious the penalty was. You don't pull an offensive lineman out in the middle of the drive. You wait until they get to the sidelines, because what are you doing by pulling that offensive lineman? You're rushing a backup out on the field.
Yep.
And we all know this. It's football 101. You need to protect the quarterback.
It seemed like a rash, emotional decision by the coach who was frustrated. He was pissed off. He's like, I've had enough. I'm doing this. He lost composure because we've seen so many other plays happen like this over the last 6 games The same kind of thing. He just sat there and like, oh, gave him a dirty look and talked to him on the sideline. But this player at this moment, he pulled out for what, one play, went back to the next one. It's like that's the inexperience, it's the immaturity of a young head coach, man, where he's losing it a little piece by piece. The game management, the time management, the accountability, very inconsistent, and everybody's watching because now the more you lose, the more we're going to analyze it, try to figure out what's going wrong. And there's little things that you're like, man, that's not good. And then just look at, dude, before halftime, I could have broke 45 TVs before halftime, watching them taking the 2 sacks, which is bad, but then run the clock out with a timeout at hand where you take a timeout. The one thing Justin Fields can do is drop back and just hurl it. Your head coach literally said last week, 7 days ago, if I had a chance to do it again, I would definitely do a Hail Mary. He had a chance the following game and still didn't do it. That is a losing, quitting mindset that resonates all throughout your locker room. It's not aggressive. He talked it. He's not walking it. And that's been his problem since his press conference. He's talked a lot of it, and he's backtracking with all of it.
I don't know what kind of, macro problem here, but I don't know what the issue is with, Jets coaches and Jets players feeling the need to like talk crap, running their mouth, talking about either how good we are or how good we're going to be, or how the rest of the league should be put on notice. I mean, we can just go down the list of how many times that has happened, and it just simply doesn't, like, the words just don't match up with the product on the field. Another issue, you mentioned before halftime, why don't, you have a guy in Justin Fields who can freaking run. The one positive play that was fantastic against the Miami Dolphins came off of that broken play where Justin Fields turned a horrible potential sack, loss of 5 to 10, into a touchdown run purely because of his athletic ability. If you want to send 5 guys wide or really spread it out 2 and 2, whatever, with a running back in the backfield or something, not necessarily on that last play, but like as the drive is starting, maybe on the second play of the drive, you can have Fields run around in the back end of the defense, send 5 guys down the field, 2 on the right, 2 on the left, whatever, maybe 1 through the middle, and then have him like kind of hook back to the quarterback. And it's all just a distraction for Justin Fields to find that open hole and book it 30 yards up the field and to potentially get in a field goal range, right? Just something like that. I don't know. It just feels so strange, so conservative. And my question is, okay, well, if you have a veteran quarterback that isn't afraid to throw and can read a defense and theoretically can pick up an offense, why aren't you playing him? And lo and behold, we did see him in the second half, but it was one half too late.
And that's my biggest concern. It's, again, first-time head coach. He's learning on the job. But the way he handled the quarterback position, I'm making a video on this right after the show. I have a video I'm just going to unleash because I have it all in my head. I'm going to go crazy. They're not handling it well, dude. They're just not. And the thing is, I'm almost of the belief right now that Aaron Glenn needs to admit his faults, his mistakes, where he's lacking experience and he needs help. And bring in a consultant to watch over this offense now, starting this week, to look over things. How are we running this process? How are we doing things here? What can we clean up and what can we fix? We need to learn on the job. We need to learn by somebody who's actually done it before. Because who's improving it? Tanner Engstrand? Him and Scott Turner talking, oh, this is wrong. Like, dude, I'm saying like North Turner, bring him in, pay him. Hey, just oversee our practice, or look over our playbook, look over our schemes, look over our play calling, anything. How can you help us get better? Because Aaron Glenn's never done it. He's never built an offense before. He's never coached a quarterback before. So how the hell does he know? He doesn't. So admit defeat. It's not going the way we want. We need help. Instead of talking about, oh, I talked to Tony Dungy, I talked to Parcells. We don't care who you're talking to. If you need to have those conversations, if you don't know if you should bench Justin Fields, you need to bring somebody here to figure it out then, because it was obvious. But I'd bring in a consultant, dude. I really would. I'd bring in somebody to help this. Like, it sounds like an insult, but I'm not trying to find a way to make this team better. And this offensive staff needs help.
No, it's not an insult. What it is reality.
Right?
Look at a guy in Antonio Pierce, and we talked about this last year. A young defensive coach, still trying. I mean, the Raiders are a big job. The Raiders they remind me a lot of the Jets, right? A super passionate fan base. They just want to see the team win. and there's question marks and stuff like that around him. It just, you can never really figure out exactly why the team just can never get on the right track. But regardless, Antonio Pierce, he's energetic. He's super passionate. He's a player's guy. Again, former player, former Super Bowl champion. And he did that. He looked himself in the mirror and said, you know what, my stuff, I just need a little bit more help. I need some more advice. So what did he do? He hit up Marvin Lewis, got him on the staff. He hit up Tom Coughlin to come in and watch practices. He hit up Adam Gase. He wanted to get his thoughts on the Raiders offense. And they brought in Norv Turner. Literally this exact situation. He brought in Norv Turner and the offense ticked up. Now, it didn't go from 30th to 2. No consultant can make that big of a difference, because at the end of the day, it does fall on the players, and the players have to execute. Like, the coaching is never going to make that much of an impact, but it can go from like 30 to 22.
I don't even care about the effing rankings. I don't even care about that. I want to see, can our offensive line play at a very high level and play better? Can we get the most out of Membu in his rookie year? Can Olu play better in his, pretty much his first year? Can the offensive line play better? How can we make them better? How can we use Arian Smith better? What is he doing wrong to make him better? All these young undrafted free agents, if they're going to play, how can we maximize their potential? That's what Norv Turner is here for. Let's see the sum of all the parts and make Mason Taylor better. There's a lot of value in doing that now, man, because I don't want to wait, next year we'll do it. Why next year? We have 10 more games. It's going to audition for everybody. Use it wisely. And I'd have so much respect for Aaron Glenn if he did this. Like, all right, you know what? He's not admitting defeat. He's admitting we got ways to go. I want to be the best we can be. And that expertise needs to be added to our staff. Cool. And you're going to see improvement. And it's just the little things, dude. The little things to make your building blocks and cornerstones better for next year with an eye towards the future. He's not getting fired this year for the most part. So how is he going to make it? How can you improve it as fast as possible? That's, I'm honest, dude. That's, I think, the best way to go right now. And Tyrod should start the rest of the year. If Tyrod, God forbid, gets hurt, I play Brady Cook. I wouldn't play Justin Fields again the rest of the year. I'd be done with him.
Yeah, put your egos aside and put the team first.
100%.
And for what it's worth, the Raiders brought Norv Turner in when they were 2-7. But Kevin, bro, I appreciate you, man. Sorry it took so long to get to this here. Do you think the Jets are going to make any acquisitions at the trade deadline, or are we going to be sellers? I think we could potentially see both, man. I definitely think we're going to be sellers. But if we can pick up another Jarvis Brown-Lee type of player, another Jawan Briggs,
maybe a running back,
sign me up, dude. Sign me up for that. Get out with the old, in with the new. The one thing I love about Darren Muji, it seems like for the most part, the young players that he's bringing in, they're working. I know Harrison Phillips isn't young, but you outside of Cisco and Fields, and Cisco was just a 1-year stop. I mean, arguably Justin Fields is kind of a bridge quarterback too. Like that was a trial run. He didn't go all in with Fields, but it seems like, the Jawan Briggs, Brown-Lee, Harrison Phillips, Malachi Moore, Armand Membu, Mason Taylor has flashed. Not as consistent as I want, but he's still so young. Dude, Mawanoa at the linebacker position continues to impress. And I keep seeing people like, day 3 is where it matters. Day 3 is where it matters. And, it's not good enough. What are we talking about, dude? Like, Darren Muji's day 3 draft selections are doing great. Oh, Tyler Barron, it doesn't look like Myles Garrett. I'm sorry. That's not what 6th round picks do in the first half of their first season, right? These guys should not even be playing, but yet they're thrusted in because of depth issues, injuries, or just how bad the starters are. I think it's a testament to, the eye of Muji and Glenn, right? Because we do have to credit Glenn in the player acquisition department as well, because Muji's not making moves if Glenn isn't clearing it. But I mean, look at how much of an upgrade Brownlee is over Michael Carter in the slot. Malachi Moore has been here for a couple months, and he's already better than Tony Adams. We've already seen the defense perk up. Mawanoa started off rough, but it just seems like with more and more reps, he's looking more and more comfortable. That's awesome. Now Muji's in a position where he could, instead of just desperately clinging on to when is Quincy Williams going to be back, he can move Quincy Williams and just say, or you have Quincy come back for one game, play him, and then you trade him, get a draft pick, and say, okay, great. We're putting Mawanoa in to get more experience, and he's putting up decent play. So he's not Ray Lewis or anything like that, but for day 3 rookies that shouldn't even be playing, I really like what I've seen so far. And again, for the newcomers that just show up and start producing immediately, like I do think there's something there. I understand we're winless. I understand that everyone's pissed, but trying to look at bright spots. Look, if news comes out tomorrow that the Jets are trading, I don't know, Quinnen Williams, or they trade Michael Carter for a draft pick and a young practice squad players coming back in return, cool. I'm for that.
No, and AZ Thomas as well. AZ Thomas, when Sauce Gardner got hurt, he stepped up. And the thing is with the draft, it's like the later rounds, these aren't guys that should be contributing year one. They're guys that get a year or two, they're raw projects. A year or two from now, you want them to step, be a special team player and then slowly become like a rotational player. Like they take time to develop a lot of times where it's just like, but you have something there, have something that you can build on. So the draft class is fine for now. I'm more concerned about the free agent class, which was kind of a mess if you look at their approach to it being very conservative, especially on offense. But this is the time to see what you have, dude. It is. It really is. And, but we got to talk about, if we're going to talk about Justin Fields, we got to talk about our favorite owner, Woody Johnson, too, because Woody Johnson, at the owners' meeting, had to chime in and share his thoughts.
Hey, well, real quick. Before we move on to that, I did want to say, because you brought up the free agency, to be fair, the free agency class wasn't all that great. And a lot of guys, unless you committed like $60+ million contracts, 60 or higher, like you weren't going to get a lot of these top guys, like the Milton Williams of the world, the Carlton Davises of the world. And so now you want to look ahead. I know you love hearing this, but you look ahead at 2026, bro, $91 million in cap space. You want to hear a list of players that I've jotted down here in my notes that I think.
Do you want to give me a list of players that actually want to play in New York for the owner the Jets have, a coach on the hot seat, and a quarterback that remains to be seen? Good luck with that.
Well, that's a pretty pessimistic. I mean, money talks, dude, and we got money.
Money talk, that's fine. Money talks. Are you going to get a guy that just going to go for the money, or actually wants the beer and is going to be a part of the solution? The Jets right now are not a desirable
location. Other option? Just quit and just don't.
I'm not saying that, but we're going to throw roses out. Oh my God, we have $90 million a year. Everybody's going to want to be a Jet. That ain't the case. It's not. 15 years, no playoffs. They're the laughing stock in the NFL, and they're going to have a head coach on the hot seat next year. And if anybody, that's a fact, dude. If they go 3-14 this year, next year he's got to win 9 games or 8 games. He's gonna be gone. So do you want to say you're the whatever, any wide receiver you want? Do you want to go to the Jets on a 5-year deal with a coach on a hot seat and either a rookie quarterback or some kind of veteran Band-Aid, or do you want to go somewhere else? I take a little bit less money and go somewhere else. I don't want to be a part of the Jets circus, especially with this owner, dude. It's not an easy sell right now. It's not. I highly doubt that.
Would you rather have $13 million in cap space or 91?
Dude, it's fine. But then you're going to be drastic. You're going to be paying a Jets tax for guys that are nowhere near worth the price they're getting. Like you're going to be literally overpaying for average guys or mid-tier guys. That's what's going to happen here.
Well, that's kind of the status quo for all bad teams. But at least we have the ability to do that.
But the thing is, this was the year that you could have built that whole culture up and built a positive aura around your team. This is an up-and-coming team. This is a good team. This is an exciting team. There's nothing about that happening right now. The Jets are in the doldrums. Football hell. Do you want to go? Do you want to go to that?
I know.
And just to be fair, and I hate the New York Giants. I hate them. Look at the two organizations. Would you want to go to the Jets right now or go to the Giants and play with Jackson Dart? It's not even close, dude. At least they're exciting. It's a young quarterback that's got some swag to throw the ball around. Like it's this organization right now is in trouble when it comes to building for the future. If this regime doesn't get it figured out fast. They're not an easy sell, dude. I highly doubt that.
The Ghost, Jet Central's talking like we're still in the hunt. Absolutely not, man. I mean, I think realistically speaking, the Jets are going to be getting a top 3 pick. There's still a lot of football left, but I'm not looking at one game, one team on the schedule saying, oh yeah, the Jets have that one in the bag. Not one. Not Miami. Not Cleveland. Not one game. Not New Orleans. So, Green Bean, what's going on, man? Hope you're doing well. What's going on? Yeah, what is going on, man? It's
But talk about it, dude. Like, let's talk about this. The Woody Johnson comments today, he said what most Jet fans were thinking about Justin Fields, but it's not his job to say it. Why add gas to the fire at this point? It's like I could this press conference for him, or is like, you know what? We're disappointed how things are going right now. We got to find a way to win. Just very easy questions. But to bury Justin Fields, dude, and embarrass him, that is the look. That's the look of the owner that everybody hates. Jet fans might find it funny. They may find it cute. Oh, that's great. This and that. Yeah, great. We're a laughing stock, and people notice it. Players notice it. Oh, think about this. Whether you like Aaron Rodgers or not, They kicked him out the door in kind of a weird way of doing that. Fine. Okay, fine. Now Justin Fields was their answer. 7 games in, you have the owner making fun, like kind of discounting him or talking poorly about him in a friggin' press conference. Like he's like a Jerry Jones wannabe, but he forgets he's never won anything in the NFL. Woody Johnson's won nothing, dude. Nothing. And he acts like he's relevant and is important. The entire fan base hates him. A lot of players don't even like him. And he talks like he's like, oh, I'm the voice of reason. You're part of the problem. Like today, I didn't think was funny at all. Like, oh, he made a statement. No, what he did was he gave helped Aaron Glenn's decision for him. Like, well, we know Justin Fields isn't good. Yeah, your coach just said that yesterday. Like Aaron Glenn yesterday should have said, you know what? We're going with Tyrod Taylor. We're trying something different. Done. Not the whole, we're not sure. I got to talk to somebody. I got to phone a friend and all this other nonsense. Make the decision, stick with it. Now the owner comes out and says it. It's like, it's so ass backwards, dude. And it's just, this is the stench of the Jets right now.
Yeah, dude, what I don't understand is why there's just so much indecision. Like I think you're 100% right. Like Justin Fields or Aaron Glenn should have came out and just been like, boom, like there's no gray area here. Like we have to do what's in the best interest of the team, and we're going with Taylor. Like that's it. I don't understand. Like, oh, the New York Jets are so invested. They're all in with Justin Fields. They handpicked Fields. It's a trial run, dude. It could, when Fields signed with the Jets, you talked about it. Everyone talked about it. He's a young guy with an upside. It's either going to work and the Jets are going to develop him and the Jets could potentially have, an option, sweet, for $30 million as the 20th highest paid quarterback in football. Or, and by the way, we're in a league that overpays the quarterback position. Look at the Tua contract. Or it's not going to go well. Both were realistic. There wasn't any sort of, oh no, this is the guy. This is the guy. I don't understand why it feels like Aaron Glenn is so, tied to Fields. I just want him to do what's in the best interest of the team. Would not draft Justin Fields. Woody does not have to talk about Justin Fields like this. This is the biggest storyline of the day, and it's just unnecessary. It just simply didn't have to happen.
And the fact that Glenn says, I got to talk to some other coaches and get their feedback. You need to have a pulse of the team, dude. You're the adult in the room. Like, you're not a coordinator, dude. Like, this is your job. You're supposed to be the leader, the strong voice of the organization. Like, well, I got to talk to somebody. When the entire world knows you're benching them. Because they would have started Justin Fields, it would have been a riot. So it's the way they handled today, I thought was just another mark in Jets history. Like, oh, there goes Woody Johnson again, making things uncomfortable for people, making Aaron Glenn look stupid, kind of hinting at the decision before Aaron Glenn even announced it, which is ridiculous. Then he talked about Breece Hall. It was just like, well, Breece is going to be here now because there goes your leverage there. It's all stupid, dude. It just, they can't get out of their own way right now. They can't. And I know I'm coming off negative, but it's just, look at the perception and look at what you're trying to build here. You're trying to change the culture. You're trying to find things. Plus, you want a vision for the future where you want people to come here. You want to be marketable. You want a lot of good things to happen, and they're not going to because they're stuck in this rut of doing things the wrong way.
You know what's crazy, man? It's like no one thought that the Jets are going to be good this year, right? Most people had them as like a 4-win, 5-win, 6-win team. And that's, by the way, still doable. But if the Jets simply had 2 wins, like if they were able to just pick up another 20 yards against the Steelers, they would have won. If they would have picked up another 30 yards against the Broncos, they would have won. You could talk about like the Miami Dolphin disaster, that game, right? Breland Allen fumble, whatever. If the Jets had 2 or 3 wins under their belt right now, the pressure wouldn't be so it wouldn't be so all eyes on Glenn. But right now we are winless. We're finding new ways to lose. And again, we talked about it at the start of the stream. We've been blown out. We've lost close games. We've lost to good teams. We've lost to bad teams. We've lost to young coaches. We've lost to older coaches. We've lost on the road, at home. We've lost on primetime. We've lost because of special teams. We've lost because of coaching. We've lost because of offense and defense. Literally like every facet on how you can lose. The Jets have already checked all those boxes in 7 games, dude. And it's like, if Glenn wants the heat to go away, if he wants the pressure to go away, then there needs, bro, as a fan base, we set our bar pretty damn low, realistically speaking. We're not saying make the playoffs. Yeah, that'd be great. We're not saying, oh, we got to knock off Buffalo this season. We're all being realistic here. Can we get 6 wins? Can we see some sort of life? Can we see something that we can actually get behind and believe in? And the Jets not only are winless, not only blowing games, not only looking incompetent, but they're not even showing us signs of anything to really get behind, dude. And that's what's really frustrating. That's why I think a lot of fans, because if we were losing, if every game looked like the Steeler game, where it just kind of felt like the Jets had a grip on what was going on, I think the feeling would be different despite the record. But because it's just incompetence in so many different facets, like that's why you see all the fire Glenn comments all the time.
But it's also bigger than that. It's like now the answer is get a top 3 pick, which they're going to get it anyway, I'm thinking. But then it's like, okay, get a top 3 pick and draft a quarterback. Perfect. I'm all down with that. You have to have faith in this regime that will know how to coach up this quarterback, coach up an offense, and let this kid prosper. And the thing is, right now, you don't have that warm and fuzzy feeling with Tanner Antran and an Aaron Glenn, who's not an offensive-minded head coach. He's a defensive-minded guy who he knows football, he studies it, all this other great stuff. That's the concern, Ian. It's okay. This year's a wash. We understand it. It's an assessment year. We're evaluating all our talent, evaluating the coaches. Great. Now it's like we've been down this path before. We drafted a quarterback and we did the wrong thing for him. Played him too soon. Had the wrong playmakers around him. Wrong offensive coordinator. All these different things. We've seen it firsthand. Don't do it again. Is this staff the right staff to hand Fernando Mendoza to, or whoever else you want to pick? The flavor of the day. Do you feel comfortable with that? Saying, "Hey, here you go, kid. Go to the Jets. You're going to go prosper now." Do you feel good about that after 7 weeks? The answer is I'm not really sure. I'm kind of concerned about it.
Yeah, I'm concerned about it too. But that is a whole other conversation because what would be your alternative? What's the alternative to not
That's
doing
the problem.
that? What
you have to hope now as a Jet fan is our next 10 games with Tyrod Taylor playing, they're a much better coach. The offense looks a lot better, smoother. You're seeing playmakers emerge. Mason Taylor plays a lot better. Aaron Smith comes alive. Like you want to see these guys start coming alive with Tyrod Taylor. They say, okay, listen, we have something here. We add a wide receiver. You add pieces. Maybe we can be competitive next year on offense. That's what you got to hope for. But I'm telling you, dude, I bring in some kind of consultant here, dude, and start getting Angstran some help and getting it. You've got to figure, because like if you're not going to fire Glenn, you're taking a huge risk giving a young quarterback to the staff, a huge risk, which could set you back 3 more years if you don't hit it right.
Here's the issue with firing Glenn, right? Who do you bring in to replace him? It's so easy to say fire him. He sucks, get rid of him.
It's impossible.
But first of all, we're Jets fans. We're all angry with what happened or what is currently happening, right? But if you put yourself in the shoes of a coach that could potentially interview for the Jets job, if you fire Aaron Glenn after 1 season and he was a former great player for you, he was one of the top, whether we like him or we don't, whether on-field product, whatever, if it's there, if it's not, whatever, winless team. Despite what you think about Aaron Glenn, he was one of the top coaching candidates on the market. Interviews everywhere. Because of that, I'm going to assume that he got a lot of money. I think Connor Hughes was talking about like $12 million per season. So, 4-year contract, 5-year contract, or something like that. First of all, is Woody Johnson going to fire one of the top coaching candidates after 1 season on a 1 year into a 4 or 5-year deal? And now you have to go out and pay another coach.
Why are we so worried about Woody Johnson's money? It doesn't kill your cap space. If Woody has to eat $48 million, stop hiring bad coaches. Stop making bad decisions. You're making money hand over fist over this fan base that hasn't seen a winning product in 15 years. I don't feel bad for Woody Johnson blowing his money. He's made plenty of it. He's making billions. So suck it up, guy. You got to figure it out now. That's the way it is.
Well, I think so. I don't think so for me, the point is, I'm not saying, oh, Woody Johnson needs to save his money. I'm saying, what would Woody Johnson do? Do you think he's the type of guy to just go in for another big time contract, go after the next?
He hasn't really landed a big fish yet as a head coach. But if we're being completely honest, if there was a time to maybe land a top coach, which I think is never going to happen anyway, is you have a top 3 pick and the cap space you mentioned. Hey man, if you're you go to Cliff Kingsbury, listen, we're going to let you draft the quarterback that you want, build the offense you want, and give you the team with $91 million in cap space. That could be enticing. If there was a year to be really enticing somebody, It's having a top 3 pick and a ton of cap space. That's a true
Right.
selling point. It really is. But the problem is, look how many of these guys the last time around didn't even want to be interviewed. Kingsbury didn't want to leave the Commanders. Ben Johnson had no interest. Mike McCarthy wasn't interested. A lot of coaches are like, "Yo, we don't want to go to the Jets. We're not interested because we don't like what you're offering the table." But
And that's my
that's the
yeah,
problem.
and so that's my point is now 1 year later, after firing Glenn, who again, despite what we think about him, was a top coaching candidate on the market, and you were done with him after 1 year, after firing Robert Saleh through 5 games. Why would any coach of any value look at the Jets and say, "Let's go. I want to go there.
So
I want to
what's the
roll my
alternative?
career
You keep a
with."
coach that's in over his head, like, oh, we can't, in theory, we can't hire anybody else. Let's just keep this whole staff here and just run it out and ruin a young quarterback.
Well, that's the major question that Woody has to decide if the season continues to play out like that. Um, I think if you start talking about, potential other coaches, you have to start talking about, and like, it's funny because if you go and you search up, right, Tennessee Titans head coaching candidates, Miami Dolphins head coaching candidates, Cleveland Browns coaching candidates, whatever, it's all the same guys from last year. It's Arthur Smith, it's Vance Joseph, it's Matt Nagy, it's Steve Spagnuolo. It's all guys that the Jets interviewed last season, or it's guys that aren't coming to the Jets, right? John Harbaugh gets fired. He's not coming to the Jets. Mike McCarthy, they've had multiple opportunities to hire him, to even interview him. It's not happening. Even though I love Mike McCarthy and he was my number 1 choice this past cycle, it's not going to happen. So, you fire Glenn. It's easy to say that, but on the other side of it, who is that? What are you going to do? Grovel and call Rex Ryan back to bring him in?
Listen, I'm not saying it's a perfect solution, but maybe you trade for a does Maybe you say, hey, does Stefanski want out with the Browns? We go get Stefanski, or just try something else. Like, you got to be, listen, I know it's not the perfect world, and we're talking about it in week 8, but my whole concern is that top 3 pick, that young quarterback coming to the Jets, this cesspool right now, and trying to find a way to make him good and make him succeed. Is this the right staff to do it? And that's what Woody Johnson has to ask. Do I feel comfortable doing this? Do I feel comfortable letting Muji spend $90 million of cap space? Do I feel good with that? It's tough, dude. It's tough. And I don't, like, to Armin's point, trading for a coach is dumb. Dude, John Harbaugh wants 2 first-round picks, sold, done, goodbye. In a heartbeat, I would do it. The Jets are, to me, I'm that desperate to get a competitive, high-level head coach. I'd trade draft picks for it. So a lot of these guys, you're going to have to do something. You have no choice.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade multiple firsts.
I wouldn't give a rat's ass at this point. The Jets, and the thing is, we're so down in the dumps right now. You need a legit culture change that's actually changed the culture already. Not a guy that can talk about it. A guy that's actually done it before.
Yeah, dude, it's so crazy because in my mind, I keep coming back to, you know what, man, if the Jets were just at least competent, like at least they could put a competent brand of football out on the field. I don't really think these conversations will be happening right now where we're talking about firing Glenn 7 games. I mean, there was a big discussion that, Aaron Glenn had his choice between the Jets and the Saints. I mean, look how late the Saints took to hire a head coach. They bring in Jets hire Glenn, and they are just left. They pivot to Cliff Kingsbury. He's not interested, and now they go with Kellen Moore. It's
a tough spot to be in, dude.
It's a very tough spot to be in, and
the thing is, like, we talked about all the negatives. Like, the defense is coming on, but is that an indictment of the last 2 quarterbacks being, Bryce Young and Bo Nix? Is it that's the last 2 weeks they got kind of a favor with the Broncos kind of being conservative, the Panthers kind of being conservative as well. But is the defense something that you can, like, put your hat on? Yeah, for the last 2 weeks, yeah. Special teams too. But the offense is like an albatross right now.
Yeah, dude.
But it's made worse by Glenn talking himself out of a job in press conferences and his game management, which is horrific, dude. It's so bad that you can't even justify. You can't even explain it. And the thing is, like, it's one thing for fans. Or all fans are saying this thing and say the analysts on TV are mocking us. And the analysts watching it all, like, Brian Baldinger or Dan Orlovsky, everybody's like, dude, what in the hell are the Jets doing? Kurt Warner, not really sure what they're doing here. Like, they're saying it on the broadcast in real time, that it makes you feel like the coach is in over his head, especially on the offensive side of the ball with Engstrand. So it's tough, dude. There's not a lot of obvious answers right now. The only hope is that they figure it out over the next 10 games and play a lot better football with Tyrod Taylor to give some kind of glimmer of hope?
Yeah, God, yeah. Again, dude, it's like finally, right? The defense turned the corner after 5 games. Special teams, they're setting the offense up nice over the middle of the field. Nick Folk is still perfect on the year. McNamara looks like an absolute beast at the punter position. The punt coverage has been great. The kick coverage has been solid, all things considered.
We're talking about punters for our bright spots.
Dude, no fumbles on special teams, man. Let's go. We got the defense and special teams. But again, the offense is historically abysmal. If it's just like, it just kind of feels like classic Jets, dude. It's like,
Here's a question for you. What could we see? What could we see out of the Jets over the next 10 games to make you feel a lot better about them moving forward? Like, what's the scrutiny? What's our criteria for saying, okay, if we see this, because right now we're all doom and gloom, which is fine, but it doesn't matter. 0-7.
Right.
Okay, this is a 10-game audition for Aaron Glenn and his staff. What do we need to see over that to say, okay, you know what? We'll give you, you're getting a second year anyway, but we'll feel a lot better about this.
Really 3 things for me. Four things. Number 1, winning games. That'd be great. Feels like it's a lot to ask for at this point. It shouldn't be, but that's where we're at based off of what we've seen. Can we actually win some games here? And I'm not talking about one lucky win where it comes down to some sort of Hail Mary or some BS pass interference call and we luck out even though we're the worst team. No, can we actually get a couple convincing wins? I had the Jets as like a 5-6 winish team this upcoming season. And imagining the Jets winning 6 out of their next 10 just feels astronomically, like it feels impossible, dude. And I'm not even, it has nothing to do with the schedule. It has nothing to do that we have to play Buffalo and, some of these teams down the stretch. It's literally just because the Jets are just looking that incompetent, especially on the offensive side of the football. But that's one, right? That's one obvious area, avenue that we can all hope to see winning games. Number 2, actual real accountability from Aaron Glenn, not pulling John Simpson out in the middle of the drive. What are you doing? That's just going to hurt the team. Talk to him after the drive, but real accountability. Like you talked about before, hit the podium and say, hey, you know what? My clock management has been awful. I got to get back to the drawing board. I spent, the last 15 hours diving deep back to my playing career, talking to coaches, right? He's always talking to coaches, Parcells, Dungy, all these guys. I'm hammering home this. I'm going to be the best game manager. I'm going to be the best clock manager in the entire National Football League. That's my goal, right? Show some humility, bring in an offensive analyst or a consultant if you need to. And no one's saying, okay, he has to be in the booth with you, just like Norv Turner was with the Raiders last year. But can you bring someone in to go over your scheme, go over, the Jets have all the tape in the world. They can send all that stuff off and have someone remotely watch it and then bring back a report with what has gone well, what has gone right, who's more at fault, why are the Jets doing this, why would you call that there, strengths and weaknesses of players and overall the system. Having that accountability, even if the Jets are, losing games, if you have that, it provides faith, at least in my eyes, that this coach A is trying his best to get this thing figured out, and B, he has enough self-awareness to actually take a step back and say, hey, you know what, my ego is it's less important here. The number one most important thing right now is the New York Jets. It's going to always be the Jets, and we have to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward. And if that means I have to hit the podium and, I don't want to say apologize, but you know what I mean, show some humility, I think that will go a long way. Now, he has to practice what he preaches and actually put it into action. But yeah, showing accountability from Aaron Glenn. I think even if the Jets are losing games, if they're competitive, if they're hard fought, and we can end the game, we're doing recaps after saying, hey, you know what? We just lost to a team that on paper, they're better. On paper, they're more healthy, and they just made more plays than us, right? There's probably eight plays to win, a single game. The Jets maybe made 2 or 3 out of those winning plays. The other team made 7. If we just converted on third downs, we lost. But there's grains of success. You can see, success kind of percolating. It's just not ready yet. Similar to, Dan Campbell's Detroit Lions early on, where he's rolling out undrafted free agents and somehow they're taking teams to, playoff teams right to the end of the game.
So, but I have a question for you though. Do you think the Jets at the trade deadline won't make any moves because their best chance to win is to keep Quentin Williams here, to keep Jermaine Johnson here, to keep Brees Hall? Because, like, listen, man, we got to try to find win games. If we trade them away, our chances of winning are a lot less than they are now. I'd hate that idea. I'd try to be like, listen, it is what it is. Try to get, we have an eye towards next year. But could they be in a spot where they're not sellers and they're like, nah, man, we gotta win games. And losing Quentin Williams is gonna hurt us. We can't do that. Can you see a scenario where they actually do that?
No, because we all knew that the Jets were a big job when whether it's Glenn, whether it's Spags, whether it's Matt Nagy, Arthur Smith, whoever got the job, it was going to be big. It was going to be a multi-year fix, right? Like a fixer-upper. It's not just this overnight thing and everything's fine. 15 years of dysfunction totally wiped out in a couple of months in a bad free agency class and a average, draft class. It's just not realistic. So I don't want my general manager, I don't want the new regime that we just hired making moves that it's basically just short-term additions, right? Short-term benefit. I don't want Darren Mushi to be making short-sighted moves to help an 0-7 football team that's going to hurt 2026, 2027. It's a long-term plan. Mushi's on a long deal. Stick to the plan and don't try to sell out for a winless season to win a couple of games down the stretch. That to me just is not something that a successfully a well-ran organization would do. It's planned for the future.
No, I completely agree, dude. Like, you can't,
especially too, by the way, not to cut you off, especially if you're talking about guys like Brees Hall, Lazard, Michael Carter,
yep.
Quincy Williams, potentially. Like, if they're not going to be back, then if you hang on to them, like for example, if the Jets hang on to Brees Hall at the trade deadline, as much as I love Brees Hall, I just don't think that's the smartest football decision because I think he's not going to re-sign here when the offseason hits. And you can argue like, oh, comp picks and stuff like that. There's a lot of details that go into it. That's not like just this for sure thing. Like, oh,
yep, exactly right.
You let him walk. It's a free second. It's a free third. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that type of stuff. That's not a sure thing. So for me, if it could be a player that's maybe on a bigger contract, or sorry, not a bigger contract, a longer contract, that the Jets just simply don't have a plan for, or they just don't really view that player as a long-term guy. I have no problem with moving on from some of these players to get more of these Jarvis Brown-Lees, more of these Harrison Phillips, more of these Jawan Briggs types of players in the door that are instant impact, cheap. Well, Harrison again isn't young, but you know what I mean. Just instant impact in the system.
But what would you feel about like a guy like Will McDonald or Jermaine Johnson, where they're supposed to be your explosive edge guys? You have nothing behind them. You keep trotting out Michael Clemens, which is a complete joke at this point. But are those two guys? Are they building block guys for you, or they're like, hey, they're not really. They only have like 2 sacks or 1 sack. They have next to nothing going on. Like, are they building blocks for you, or they're like, you know what? They don't fit our defense. We have to go a different direction. How would you handle those two?
Yeah, so for me, I think if I'm Darren Muji, I'm hanging on to both because you have them both under team control. And edge is already a very, very thin position, right? People talk all the time like, oh, the Bears need an edge rusher. This team needs an edge rusher. The Chargers need it. Like all these teams need San Francisco. They're in the market for an edge rusher. The Jets need an edge rusher. So I don't want to slash a room that will, obviously it's going to hurt the team this season, but just like we talked about, it's going to hurt the team in the long run too. Now you can say, okay, trade whatever, Jermaine Johnson, get a nice haul back in return, and then address edge in the draft. Okay, I guess on paper that probably makes sense, but that to me just doesn't really feel, like say the Jets get like pick, I don't know, 60 something for like Jermaine Johnson. To me, that is just not worth it. It's not the quality of player that you're going to be getting in the 60s is not equate to Jermaine Johnson. And he's cheap this year. He's cheap next year on the 5th-year option. He's a vocal leader. I want to re-sign Jermaine Johnson to an extension. I don't want to trade him away. Now, if a team says, oh, we'll give you a first, that pick can be like 21 or 22 or something. Now I'm a little bit more open to it. Will McDonald's interesting because like you love the physical, like the athletic upside. And he's like even cheaper than Jermaine Johnson, right? Because he has this year on his rookie deal, next year on his rookie deal, and the year after that on his rookie deal. But of course, the counter is you could probably get more for a player like that because, if someone calls, hey, Will McDonald, Bougie can be like, no, you better pay up because you're not going to have to pay this guy for 3 freaking years. So I'm not accepting just some random 4th-round pick for him. No, you better pay up.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see how they handle that, man. Very fascinated. Like, and you're really going to see their vision. Like, they assess the roster, who can stay, who's going to go. Fascinating to see the value, the moves. It's going to be interesting, man. There's so many questions with this team right now.
Yeah, it looks like I missed a couple super chats here. Kevin, bro, thank you so much, dude. You don't have to keep on sending in super chats here. I appreciate you, bro. What do you think about Glenn's philosophy going at halftime? Bad coaching or no trust in the offense? To me, it just looks like he's clueless. Like it's just like totally conservative. Like, oh, we can't risk a strip sack fumble for a touchdown, or we can't have a Tim Boyle pick 6 Hail Mary situation like we saw a couple years ago. I mean, what are the chances of that actually happening? The Jets are a winless team. Just let it rip. Just let it rip. I mean, we're losing games anyway by 1 possession. So
it's bad. It's back-to-back weeks too. It makes him look so bad when he actually admitted he'd do it differently, and he did the same thing the following week. It's not a good look for him.
Colin, clean pocket rate 50, just over 51%, dead last in pressure 51. I think you're probably referencing the Justin Fields situation. Yeah, dude, I think first off, man, I appreciate the super chat, dude. It really does mean a lot. But this whole, that's another kind of thing that we touched on a little bit. The offensive line, dude, I feel like it's actually really, really impressive in run blocking, but as far as the pass protection goes, like their blitz pickup is not the best. Whenever they play like odd man fronts, Denver, Carolina, Tampa, like they just seem to get in the backfield like it's no problem. And they can't find where the extra man is, where these guys are coming from. It seems like these odd man fronts, and granted, these are all pretty good coaches, Vance, Bowles, Avero, all, talked about like they're super creative and stuff like that. But still, like it's a pretty big difference when you're looking at the Jets offense going up against like, a 4-man front or something, going up against one of these odd man fronts. Now they did have success against Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's defense has been pretty much a letdown all year. So I don't know. It's yeah,
good,
I have some concerns about Steve Hyden as offensive line coach.
100% was a tight end coach, first of all, but that's, it's fine. But the thing is, you give up 6 sacks to the Panthers. They're getting like 6 sacks a week at this point. It's like it's from 9 2 weeks ago, 6 this week. It's Justin Fields holding on to the ball, but like you mentioned, there's a recipe to get to the Jets quarterback. It's just blitz, because they can't pick it up. You see guys whiffing, they're blowing assignments, bad communication. And it's funny because everybody hated Carter last year, the last couple of years. Oh, Carter's the worst offensive line coach. He's terrible. Not really much of an upgrade, man. And isn't Bill Callahan available now? Isn't Bill Callahan sitting out there somewhere? Didn't he get let go by the Titans? Bring him in to come. What is he doing right now? He's got some free time on his hands. Come check out the Jets offensive line. Help us out a little bit.
Maybe it's another coaching connection that Glenn has.
Can't hurt at this point, dude.
Anthony, I appreciate you, man. Most of the problems are on the offensive side. AG doesn't know it. Glenn is holding the team back, forcing them to be conservative. Every defensive coordinator or DC head coach does it. Yeah, I think when we go back and you look at Rex's issues, it was failure to develop a quarterback, failure to have any sort of consistency on offense. You look at Todd Bowles, same issues. Robert Saleh, the problems were on offense. So you make a good point, dude. I think it's really, really, I mean, it doesn't, take a genius to figure this out, but it's really, 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 really important for a defensive-minded head coach. If you aren't going to contribute offensively, you need to hire someone who can fully take the reins. Look at Todd Bowles in Tampa. He learned his lesson from the Jets. I mean, Tampa continues to roll out great. Dave Canales, awesome, gets a head coaching job. He leaves. Liam Cohen leaves and gets a head coaching job. Grizzard is doing some great things with a banged up, injured Bucs offense. Could he be hired? Todd Bowles has kind of cracked the code a little bit on like he prioritizes bringing in these freaking top OCs. Like and to Bowles' credit, like he has a vision for what the offense wants to look like. He just needs someone to go out and like execute it and add more. It's not like Bowles is just like, I have no idea how to do anything on the offensive side. I need someone to do 100% of it because it does take some level of offensive expertise to identify these offensive, these guys that are going to be calling plays and installing the offense. You have to know what you're looking for, in other words. But Anthony, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, and
And
to that,
then,
man, to that point though, it's like when the defense was struggling, we're like, Aaron Glenn's got to step in and call the plays to help fix the defense. On offense, we're not saying Aaron Glenn's got to step in and call the plays because he can't. Like he doesn't like he hasn't run it. He hasn't like schemed an offense for like a team over a period of time, right? That's the issue here, where
yeah,
that's where you need the other guy. And then when you have a pretty much an inexperienced staff on offense, who's the guru? Who's the guy like, oh, I know how to do this. Here's how we change this. They're studying, they're trying to figure it out, but they haven't been there, done that. That's a huge problem for them right now.
right. And Jake, dude, I appreciate you, man. Thanks so much for hopping in. Colin, hope Brady Cook gets in. Tyrod went 10 for 22 with 2 INTs. Can't wait. Yeah, Tyrod didn't look great, but I have a major issue with Tanner Engstrand calling, what was it, 27 passing into. We weren't down by 30, dude. We weren't going up against this offense that was just going to go right down the field. No, our defense is playing well. Why did we abandon the run? Why are we asking Tyrod Taylor without Garrett Wilson to throw it that much? It makes no sense. It just screams, to me at least, panic. Like, we need a chunk play. We need some sort of explosive play. We need to get the momentum back on our side.
No sense of game management, time management, awareness, like just situation awareness. They completely lost it. They just completely panicked at that point.
Why do you guys give every sack to Justin Fields? No, I think there's been multiple. I mean, first of all, the best offensive lineman ABT's hurt. You have Joe Tippmann playing out of position. You're starting 2 sub 22-year-olds at tackle, and you're rolling out Steve Hyden, who was a tight ends coach previously, as offensive line coach. So,
and Simpson hasn't been as good as he was last year either.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Which is concerning because he should be good. So it's like, is it the offensive line coach?
Yeah, and to Afram's point here, they might need to look for a right guard in the offseason and move Tippmann back to center. One thing I was kind of thinking about too, I don't know if most Jets fans would just be done with the idea, but because AVT got hurt, you could probably bring him back on a cheap 1-year deal, like incentive based, like 1 year, $5 million or something, as opposed, because if AVT was playing this year and just looked like a normal AVT season, he's probably in line to get like a 3 or 4 year deal, man. Guards are getting a ton of money, bro. Like Robert Hunt signed $100 million deal for a guard. Or a guard contract. Like, these guards are getting paid tons of cash.
But
could
then,
you maybe try to go
but
ahead?
if you do that, do you draft somebody too, like a highly touted guy that ABT can mold to when he gets hurt, you can replace him? Like, he can't be your lockdown starter. Like, all right, he's our guy, we have it. You need a very, very good backup or somebody. Like, you need to improve your offensive line depth then, because you can't count on him. And I love him. High character guy, very well respected, could be a captain, all this other stuff. I get it, but that to me is risky, dude. If you really want your offensive line to be the anchor of your team, to count on him for 17 games is asking a lot, I think.
Yeah, totally. Kevin, I appreciate you, man. Any optimism for their future? I would say we need to see something on offense. I had such a big problem with the defense and special teams blunders, and they managed to fix them. They managed to get those 2 units playing on the right, getting them on the right track. But the offense is just, I mean, you can't even stomach watching this team. Like, I love football, and I wanted to take a nap during the Jets game. Like, it's so boring watching this Jets offense. So until they actually improve in that area and show fans or give fans something to actually get behind on the offensive side of the football, assuming the defense doesn't take a step back or anything, like if we get the same defense and special teams performance, and we could put up 4 points offensively or something, I don't really think that we're going to be losing games if that's the case. Like, if this is the Jets defense from here on out, that gives you a chance.
Especially if it's led by Brownlee, Malachi Moore, AZ Thomas. These are all young pieces of the puzzle that you can say, okay, we have a young nucleus that's playing fast or playing physical. Like, that's your optimism, is the young players emerging as legit talent and starters, right? That's where you hope. Like, even Will McDonald's still young, Jermaine Johnson's still young. Like, those are the pieces. You got to find those pieces on offense, which maybe Olu and Membu, but that's where you find your optimism.
We're gonna have a lot clearer of a picture where this team stands after the trade deadline too.
I just,
With me?
but yeah, I just, this is just tough, man. I can't believe we're here on friggin' October 21st. It's wild.
Yeah, I think I might be cutting out because I'm bad
Just a little
Wi-Fi.
bit.
Can you hear me? Okay.
You're good. You're fine.
Okay. Yeah, AG wants you to be proud. Um, but yeah, Tyson, I think that's gonna do it for us. We covered a lot. Anything else that you wanted to hit on?
No, and I know it's like I know I'm coming off ridiculously negative right now. I think while I'm frustrated about this year, I'm more concerned about next year and building this team going forward with that young quarterback and investing all this cap space with this regime. So it's like we've been down this path so many times before where we knew bad regimes, they wasted money and draft picks. You just don't want to see it again, man. You want to see competitive football and fun football, but if you're going to have a year like this where it's a completely lost, miserable season, make it worthwhile where next year we could bounce back and you could see the opportunity where we can expedite this rebuild to win 8 or 9 games. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to go from 3 wins to 5 wins next year. I want to be able to, you can't be a 6-year rebuild. And that's where I'm getting concerned right now. It's really, really frustrating. So the Jets win. I'll bring back some positivity. Between the losing and Woody's press conference today, I was just like, I'm checked out of this.
Yeah, Matt, what's going on, man? Would you be okay with Ty Simpson, Dante Moore, Fernando? Out of those three, right now, I would take Mendoza.
Simpson's
I
interesting, but he's
really,
not
really
experienced.
I really like what I'm seeing from Simpson so far. But you got to be really careful with quarterbacks that don't have 15 college starts.
Yep.
You think of Trubisky, you think of Anthony Richardson. It's not a great track record of 1-year starters at the collegiate game coming in immediately and then just taking off and having success. And for what it's worth too, Ty Simpson, Dante Moore, they're not, they can go back to school. And I've actually spoken to a couple people close to the Oregon program, and neither of them are even slightly worried that Moore is going to enter the draft. They didn't confirm he's coming back, but they're just like, no, the focus is on this season, and he really is valuing his development. And if you look at the track record of like the Oregon quarterbacks, like Justin Herbert went back to school, Bo Nix went back to school, Dylan Gabriel, obviously, he only had the 1 year left, but still an older veteran. And Dante Moore's, story and really the backstory, him, wanting to start early, goes to UCLA, doesn't work out, then kind of going back to Oregon. He was originally committed there in the first place out of Michigan as like this high-end 5-star guy. He kind of recommits back to Oregon. And I just don't get the sense that he's just going to bounce after one season when he can still make a ton of money. He can still be developed. And Oregon, they're going to continue to get players and surround him with talent. So he's only going to be more refined and polished as the years go on. So the good news is I really like Fernando Mendoza. He's the most accurate quarterback in the draft. He has a super quick release, super smart, team guy. Players love him. Coaches love him.
Big
He's
arm.
experienced. I like Mendoza a lot, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to watch. I mean, CJ Carr is a guy, Notre Dame bias, but that's next year.
Yeah, I mean, dude, even in that class, like Julian Sand from Ohio State, like there's some talent there. Kevin, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. But
and if you're looking for Brees Hall replacements, Notre Dame's got 2 of them on their team, so you can get those guys. You know what I mean?
Jeremiah Love, dude, he's a beast.
He's a beast, man.
He's by far RB1 in this class, man.
He's awesome.
Great. He's great. Yeah, maybe later on in the season we'll do some college talk. That'll be, or I mean, if the Jets continue to look like this, maybe it'll be next week.
We may have the choice. Well, I think this is going to be is this episode 100 or is the next one? We're almost at 100 episodes, man.
Yeah, I don't have I know on your Spotify like you have the exact number, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I think I've worn you out over the last 100 episodes.
I'm aging.
I wonder of the 100 episodes, how many of the games the Jets have actually won? It's not that many.
Probably like 8. All right, I think that's going to do it for us. Thanks so much for everyone hanging out, tuning in, man. This team is winless. This team is so hard to watch, but yet, you guys are here hanging out, chilling on a, weekday night, sending in super chats, which I could not be more grateful for. So, yeah, I'll talk to you guys next week. Obviously over on Tyson's channel. Let's Talk Jets Radio. Until then, peace.